How many wives can a Muslim man have?
4.
So you can have 4 wives, but you can't shake another woman's hand. How does that balance out?
Because when you have a wife, you take responsibility for them. You know, you have to look after them, care for them, feed them, clothe them, nurture them, love them, support them. There's all this that goes with it. The fact is, I could probably shake hands with a woman and be fine at my age, okay? I could, I'm not going to, immediately fall in love with every woman I shake hands with. But Islam is a religion that deals with prevention rather than cure.
Is that because there's something in them that's a bit perverse?
No, because it was like this in the old days for us as well.
But they were perverse back then.
Well, okay. So like there was this etiquette that if you went out on a date back in the old days, you'd have to be chaperoned. There would be like a couple of old ladies that followed you. So there was always this in our culture and our tradition, okay? Just that Islam has sort of maintained it, whereas we have now lost it completely, okay? Which is a shame because I love our culture. I love the British culture.
And do you think Islam is the best answer for the country?
It's the only answer.
It's the only answer?
The only ultimate answer. The only ultimate answer, okay? However, it's not an option. It's like I said, we are not going to take over militarily, politically, or numberly. We're not.
So let me guess. So for Britain to become more patriotic, it needs to become more Islamic.
No, for anybody to look. You have to understand that as Muslims, we believe that.
Come on now.
I'm on it. Don't worry, you not got me. We believe that Islam is a deen. It's a way of life, not just a belief. Right? We believe it's the perfect way of life. Why? Why? Because God legislated it, okay? And if the creator of everything and everybody said this is the best way to live, then obviously it's going to be the ultimate. But we don't have that as an option now. So we can't let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes we just have to get on with work with what we got, okay? So ultimately, for me to be the best version of myself, okay, as a man, that would depend upon how much I'm practicing my religion.
So that blows my mind. And I fucking feel sorry for you. I feel like you're missing out massively.
Don't feel sorry for me, Liam,
I know you won't.
I feel sorry for you.
I know you won't like that. I know you do. I feel like you're...
I'm here to help you, mate.
I feel like you're slightly brainwashed.
Okay.
Do you ever think there could be room in your mind for doubt, that you could have it wrong and you could be indoctrinated yourself and you could have, got lost in the sauce a little bit?
Lost in the sauce, no.
Or are you definite?
No, I'm 100%. I'm willing to die and I'm prepared to die for what I believe in and for what I stand for, okay? I love my life as a Muslim. I've lived your life to an extent. I didn't become Muslim till I was 26. I'm now 55. So I've done all the stuff that you've done. I've done all the drinking, all the partying, all the stuff, all the party pills and everything else. I've done all that. Okay, I've chased pleasure in pursuit of happiness. Okay, I like a bit of pleasure. Don't get me wrong. But when you chase pleasure in pursuit of happiness, you have to keep chasing it. But as a Muslim, there's an internal pleasure. There's an internal happiness. Knowing that you have a creator, knowing that you've connected with that creator, that God, and knowing that you worship that God in a way that he has told you, this is how I accept the worship, okay? So for me, whatever happens in my life, illnesses, jobs, whatever, I'm saying, whatever goes up and goes down, I always say one thing, alhamdulillah, meaning all praise, ultimate praise is due to God, because whatever happens to me is for the best. If I was to drop dead before I got to the car in the car park, alhamdulillah, that's it. That would be it for me, okay? If I was to drop dead at this table, alhamdulillah, okay? So when you have that sort of a peace in your heart and peace in your soul, why would I want to go back to anything else? I mean, I've done all the rest of it and I left it and I could still do it.
If Allah wasn't in your life, would you feel completely lost?
Yeah, I think anybody that doesn't have contact with it, because the whole point of this life, and this is a good question, okay? Because there's something that I wanted to mention to you anyway. So you have to understand how a Muslim looks at this life, okay? We look at this life from start to finish as a test. It's a test. Everything is a test. Some of it you're tested with money, lack of or more of. Some of it you're tested with relationships, health, whatever. Everything that you go through is a test, okay? So this life to us is about, one, finding the creator and then connecting and worshipping with that creator, because ultimately we come from Allah and we will return to Allah. Okay, so that this whole journey, this whole life is just like I like it. I look at it as like a airport. Okay, you get to the airport. There's a terminal. There's things to do. There's cafes. There's bars. There's shops. But ultimately, you're not stopping there. You're moving on. And this life is just a stopgap to the next life. And that's how Muslims look at this life. This is why we put God in front of everyone, even family, but not in the same way that you might be thinking. You might love your wife, your kids, your parents, friends, family, whatever. Okay. But the love that you have for God is going to be of a different type. It's not going to be of a human type, okay? But everything ultimately in this life is just a test. This podcast is a test. In fact, this podcast is a jihad for me. It's a struggle. It's jihad means struggle, not war. Okay, I'm not going to pull out a sword or anything. This is just a struggle. It's just something I have to go through in order to get through to people.
And in an ideal world, doing this podcast, is it a victory if someone listens and you convert just one person?
See, conversion or people accepting Islam isn't down to me. Okay, Allah guides. God, we believe that God guides. Okay, our job or my job is to deliver the message as best as I can with my limited experience and knowledge. Okay, and that's it. But you're the guy I come for, not your audience. I know that most of your audience hate me. I know they started this podcast hating me, and most of them will finish this podcast hating me.
You said a few outlandish things.
Well, to them maybe. But again, Liam, you've had a lot of people sitting on this chair, right? And
I do appreciate your complete honesty, mine.
No, look, I haven't come here to lie to you, okay? I wouldn't do that. You've had a lot of people sitting in this chair, and they've said some absolute bullshit about Islam. Some mad stuff.
Why do you think so many people are critical of it?
Because you bring them on, okay? So and you sit.
Oh, it's my fault.
Well, it's your podcast.
It's my fault.
Well, it is your podcast.
But you do know that on thousands of other podcasts, there's people that go on there very critical of Islam. So
okay,
it's not me.
All right. So, but I'm just talking about you. Okay. So you haven't. They're talking all sorts of stuff about Islam, right? Mm-hmm. Mad stuff.
Ex-Muslims as well.
Okay, fine. Yeah, no problem. But you never push back. You never say, hold on, that's a bit of a statement. Can you bring any evidence for that? Can you cite any evidence for what you just said? You just sit and smile at them. And I'm thinking, Liam, you're smarter than that, mate. Ask them a question or two. Or ask them to, because you're pushing me, like in the conversation, which is good.
I never like to ask people questions about their family. And I don't know the answer to this. And I'm not saying that you have or you haven't.
Right.
But let's just say hypothetically that you had a daughter and she was at the Ariana Grande concert and got blown up by an Islamist. Is there a chance that you'd reconsider your faith?
Because whoever did that at the concert was acting opposite to the religion. Opposite. You're not supposed to take an innocent life. I mean, it's very simple. It's very clear. It's not ambiguous. No innocent. And even in war, even in battles, okay, there is very strict rules to battles. You're not supposed to hurt anyone in the farm fields, like people that are working. You're not supposed to cut down trees or foliage, okay? Anybody that doesn't have a weapon, you don't fight. Women and children, obviously, you don't fight. If they put down their sword or their arms, you take them as a prisoner and you either release them out of kindness or you ransom them for other prisoners. But you can't kill them or torture them or anything like that. So there's very strict rules to even battles. So to go in and randomly blow people up is against my religion.
Do you want Sharia law in the UK? I won't ask again because it's fucking boring. Yes or no?
The Sharia law that I would want in this country, yes.
Okay.
But not the version that you have in your head. Because you think everyone's going to walk around with their hands cut off and people are getting stoned in Trafalgar Square. It's not like that. You know what you have here? We have a National Health Service, don't we? That's Sharia law. You got that from Islam. You have a judge and a jury. Where'd you get that from? You have prisons. Where'd you get that from? A lot of this is already Sharia. And the idea of Sharia is to bring peace, not to bring chaos.
What about if you leave Islam? Would that be chaotic?
No, you just open a YouTube channel and tell everyone.
And you wouldn't be in trouble? The uncles,
are they in trouble to do it now?
A lot of them get death threats. In other countries,
I get death threats.
In other countries, they get killed.
Look, the fact of the matter is, Liam,
is your version of Islam worldwide, or do you think it's different in different countries, should be different in different countries?
No, it's not. There is one Islam, okay? There's different countries have different ways of practicing it in different ways. For when it comes to the apostasy law about being killed, we have the similar law here already. It's called the treason law. Technically, you could get killed for treason in this country. I think in the Second World War was the last time we executed people for treason, all right? So if you're born in a Muslim country, so this is where context matters, where I can't just say yes or no, okay? You're born in a Muslim country, you're raised as a Muslim, you've given allegiance to the leaders, and you've given allegiance to the Islamic State. If there's no Islamic State, it doesn't count, by the way. And then you come out and you say, I'm no longer Muslim, and then you go to encourage people to leave the religion and you go against the leaders. This is treason.
You seem like a very nice guy, and I appreciate that you've come here after calling me out. You've not convinced me that Islam's a nice religion.
I don't have to convince you, Liam.
No, but what I'm saying is, I've not just watched a 30-second soundbite. I've had an hour and a half of you going for gold, and I still think it's a poor religion. But I think you're all a bit lost.
That's fine, and we think that you're lost.
I know,
and there is, and look, ultimately we're going to find out at some point because we're all going to die. So I'm going to die, you're going to die. Ultimately, we're going to find out who's true. Now, if I'm wrong, okay, and Islam is, there's no God, there's no nothing, then what have I lost?
Your entire life.
So what? It's a blip. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this life.
Don't worry about life as a blip.
Yeah, it is a blip. I've enjoyed this life more as a Muslim than a non-Muslim. I get much more internal peace and satisfaction as a Muslim than I ever did as a non-Muslim. And I've done everything that everyone else done as a non-Muslim. I've done all the partying, I've done all the drugs and all the rest of it, and the nightlife and the Oh, I've done it all, okay? And I enjoy my life a lot more now. I like to just sit at home and I read a little bit, I pray, I go to the mosque. It's beautiful, it's calm, it's lovely, it's blessed. I don't want to go back to that life. I would never go back to that life, okay? So if I'm wrong and there is no God, and I know that there is a God, okay? Then what have I lost? I've lived a good life. And if I'm right and you're wrong, you're effed. You're finished.